My first experience of working with him was in the beginning intimidating. I was a little frightened because of his starring personality, even though I'd seen him many times before as my father's friend, but as a director under whom I was working, he was this very tall, towering personality with an almost larger than life personality, actually, and that booming voice. But then I soon found that, when he interacted with actors, it was always at their own level. Even with children, he would talk to them as equals. He didn't treat them, patronizingly or anything like that. The only thing was that he used to tell me what to do all the time. I mean, I think he felt that he wanted it in a certain way, and he would tell me exactly what to do, except for one day. And that is an unforgettable memory for me, because that day there was a shot where I was supposed to have this squirrel called Chorki in my hand, and I was supposed to be trying to call my friend Rakhal through the bars of a window into their house, into their sitting room. But in that sitting room, his sister was being shown as a prospective bride to Soumitra Chatterjee. So what happened was that Chorki is supposed to, slip out of my hand and go into the room, and I'm supposed to run after him and rush into the room, upsetting everything. Now, normally the squirrel was, he would wriggle out, he would never stay in one place. But that particular day, he just decided to stay put in my hand and wouldn't move. So what I did was I pretended to be fascinated with Chorki, and trying to show Rakhal Chorki, I placed the squirrel on the sill of the window, the inner sill of the window. And of course he went into the room, and then I pretended to realize that, oh my God, he's slipped in, and I rushed. And I remember the art director Bongshi Chandragupta shaking his head and saying, Holona, Holona, Holona. But I found Satyajit Ray, whom I used to call Manik Kaka, laughing a lot. He was laughing a lot, and he said, Amar to besh bhaloi laglo, which means I rather liked it. And so that shot was kept in. I used to watch him at work. I would see him saying, okay, splash some water here, pour some water here. Now place the light so that it bounces off the water. Put a charpai over there. Put a gamcha on the charpai. Or things like that. The little details that he used, and with very telling effect. His economy in storytelling was something to, one has to learn, because he could make a scene give a great deal of information, one scene or even one shot. First of all, I became very good friends with him, quite aside from his being my father's friend. While we were on the jury, he had nominated me as one of the jurors, and there was a big galaxy of stars over there. There was Oshima from Japan, there was Frank Capra from America, there was Zanussi from Poland, and many other people like that. So I was kind of the odd one out, and I felt very, very scared. And I told him, I said to him, why did you nominate me? Because, what do I know about judging a film? And in his booming voice, he said, don't be silly. Haven't you been watching films with your parents since childhood? So I said, yes. Film Society shows, world cinema? I said, yes. He said, then what more do you need? You just need exposure, that's all. He had read my script of 36 Chaurangi Lane, because when I'd written it, all my friends said, oh, fine, you've written a script in English, nice intellectual exercise, now just put it away in a drawer and forget about it, because you will not find a producer to make an English film. I said, okay, I will do that, but at least let me show it to Manikaka once. And I took it to him, and he said, now don't rush me, I will take my own time reading it. I said, fine. So after a couple of months, he calls me up and he says, come over. And then he thumped his chest, and he said, it's very good, it's got a lot of heart. So I said, how does one go about making a film? So he said, well, to start with, you have to find a producer. And I didn't know where to find a producer. So he suggested Shashi Kapoor. He said, I think this is a perfect film for Shashi Kapoor, because he's just made Junoon, and this is the kind of film he wants to make now. He's making Kali Yuga, And so, just write to him. I don't think I would have really made that film if it hadn't been for Satyajit Ray. Shashi wanted me to shoot the film on CinemaScope, and I didn't want to because it was such an intimate story. I wanted to do it on Academy, the kind of old-fashioned lens. And I told Shashi, even though I hadn't talked to Manikaka, I told Shashi I've talked to him, and he said, no, you can't, you shouldn't do it on CinemaScope, you should do it on Academy. And when I came and told Manikaka that I've said this in your name, he laughed and he said, but you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be made in CinemaScope. Fine, I'm glad you did it. When I started photography, at one point before I got into direction, I was taking still photographs, and I used to take them to him, to his editing room, which I used to visit a lot of the time. So he used to edit on this ancient machine called the Moviola. I don't know how he did it, but he was very good. And I used to watch him at work. And I came and showed him my pictures, and then he said, he used to talk in a gruff kind of way, but in a very kindly, gruff kind of way. He said, ekebare seriously nite hocche, he said in Bengali. You have to take her seriously now. One of the things he told me that I followed was that he said, if you want something to register with the audience, if you want some information to register with the audience, don't say it only once, say it at least twice, otherwise it will not register. This I follow quite rigorously because I find that it's true that the attention span of the audience is such that they will miss it the first time. If you ask me which is my absolute favorite, I will say Aparajito, because I have never come across such a beautifully constructed film before. Its structure is not in your face, yet it has a beautiful structure, kind of, the story kind of comes full circle. I realized that he used a leitmotif, any sort of motive, at least twice. It comes once in the film with a certain meaning, then it comes on later in the film with a certain other kind of meaning. For instance, the sundial that Oppu makes. It was used when, to show Oppu's growing interest in science, that he's making a sundial at home. And then later on, when Oppu has gone off to Calcutta and his mother is alone and dying actually, that sundial is abandoned, but it still shows the time. It shows that it's turning from afternoon to evening, and finally that evening Sarbojoya dies. Watch the Oppu trilogy. Actually, the Oppu trilogy, even though it's 3 films, it's actually, I would treat it as one film. So I will take the liberty here of saying watch the Oppu trilogy, watch Mohanagar, which is the earliest feminist film that I can really think of. But Ray, who made this film in 1963, I think, over there is an equality, and also it's the woman doesn't just try to fulfill her own potential. She takes a moral stand at office because an Anglo-Indian girl is being treated unfairly. She actually chucks up her job because she wants to take a moral stand. So there is this equality of man and woman, not a kind of hating men. By being a feminist, you're not hating a man. I think actually Ray had a very androgynous character to him, which is, the yin and the yang, very well balanced. I would also recommend one of the city films, like either Pratidwandi or John Arunno, possibly John Arunno. And if I'm allowed to cheat and, ask for a 4th film, then I would say Gupi Gain Bagabain, the first one, because it's a wonderful anti-war film through the medium of, children's story, a fable. If I had the chance to meet Ray today, I think I would have shown him my film, Ghore Baire Aaj, because he made Ghore Baire Aaj from Tagore's novel. I too made Ghore Baire Aaj from Tagore's novel, not a remake of Ray's film actually, different, and set in today's political climate. And I would have loved to know his reaction to it. So, one of the things that I would have liked to discuss with him is the politics of today, because I know for one thing that he was a liberal through and through. He didn't believe in party politics. He said, I don't even understand it. I'm not interested in it. But issue-based politics, yes. And that has come into his city films a lot. I mean, what is happening with the Naxal movement and the young people not getting jobs, bank failures and so on. All that, what has been happening at that time, all the contemporary events have come into his films actually. He died in 1992 before the destruction of the Babri Masjid. And I think if he had been alive, the demolition of the Babri Masjid was something that would have destroyed him emotionally, really. I feel that, because that's the kind of person he was. Very tolerant, very secular, very liberal.